1900, De La Salle was built in the heart of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Nicola Island. In the fall of that year, De La Salle opened its doors, offering education to the sons of immigrant families who often had little money. Throughout its 117-year journey, De La Salle reached its highest peak of 1,654 students in the mid-60s. Hard times followed in the 70s and 80s, with enrollments declining at the risk of closing the school due to poor economic times and less scholastic options at De La Salle compared to suburban schools. At the core of De La Salle's enduring success is a most honorable founding principle to help the youth for all families educate the human soul, mind, and body to become good citizens. The Islanders' ability to survive and thrive through challenges are heavily impacted by active alumni devoted to assist De La Salle stay true to this principle. From 1900 to 1920, Archbishop John Ireland founded the De La Salle Institute, which was a commercial school with a primary focus on business. Brothers Benedict, Athanasius, and Louis taught an initial class of 30 students who became the first graduating class in 1903. An additional floor was constructed as enrollments increased to 352 boys strong. In the Roaring 20s, the De La Salle Institute had become overcrowded with the new incoming enrollments. Realizing this, Archbishop Dowling, the successor of Archbishop Ireland, raised $200,000 for a new wing in 1922, now known as the B Building. Due to parent demands for a college preparatory school, the De La Salle Institute becomes De La Salle High School in 1926. In 1942, De La Salle purchased part of the Eastman Flats row houses to make room for a home football field. But before demolishing the property, Brother Jerome decided to defend the displaced by calling other residential quarters for them to live in. During the 1950s, the Islanders became known as the best in athletic sports, such as my grandfather's football team in 1954, where no other school could score 1 point against them.
It's unfortunate that today you guys don't have the wisdom that the brothers have, but I'm sure that knowing the way that Brother Collins and Mr. Liskey have carried on Brother Collins' tradition, that you probably have better teachers today than we had back there.
But in the days that we went there, either you obey them or you'll get a whack. I'm sure they don't do that anymore. Stand outside the doors and they'd say, Mr. Hennen is going home with no books. Write your name down. Didn't have any books either. Write your name down. They would go in after, have a meeting with the brothers, so give him some homework.
In 1971, an electrical fire had gutted most of the original C building, costing $100,000 of damage. But because of curriculums being cut and more suburban school options, there was no need to restore the building. After clearing the mess in May 17th, the Christian Brothers still held the plan for the fall of 1971 to combine with the all-girls high school, St. Anthony of Padua. Brothers Cyril Latecki and Basil Rothweiler developed the Alumni Association in the mid-70s to help operate costs and financial needs of the remaining students.
Brother Michael came back to work here in 1991, shortly after I was hired. He had been president at Creedon-Durham Hall High School at St. Paul. But in those days, even in 1991, ultimately, the religious order, the Christian Brothers, managed a placement of a person in a particular school. So when the De La Salle presidency was opening up, it was pretty logical for the brother who was in charge of the Minneapolis-St. Paul district at that time to strongly recommend that Brother Michael apply for the job And that brother happened to be sitting on our board of trustees. Our board of trustees that hires the president. It's the only position that the board will hire. So when Brother Michael got here, though, he quickly realized that in order to support his vision for what the school needed to be, he had to have the right people in place inside the building, and he had to have the right level of support outside the building. So he and Mr. Liskey were very close in their administrative team as president and, in Mr. Liskey's case, principal in those days. For 19 years, they worked side by side, and they talked every day about every administrative decision that happened here. And then Brother Michael, with his personality and his intelligence and his vision and his ability to clearly articulate what De La Salle was about, was always a great guy to bring in for the conversation with a prospective donor or a prospective student.
Kind of convinced Michael was in California at the time, convinced him to come back. It did not go smoothly at all, but the diocese more or less said that you got to do that. Those are hard years for Michael, understandably.
From the past and present De La Salle, the generous alumni raised $3 million to the financial aid program to provide education for the students already attending in De La Salle and for the next generation of students ready to become Islanders. In 2008, the football field was upgraded with a small additional building by the bleachers. Renovations started with the B building from the lunchroom to the biology labs on the 3rd floor. The final touches were made in all the rooms of the A building, and in 2016, a new innovative learning center was built in the front of the school and a new parking lot and corridor in the back. Today, it is now known as the D building. Here are some special words that the interviewed alums would like to share with you.
In 2018, I would say, be who you are, follow your passion, and I think that's what your mission should be. Be nurtured by the values that were instilled here at De La Salle, discover who you are, and then serve our community.
Support the school not just financially, but also in terms of lending your voice and support to different initiatives or programs that you think are really beneficial to students, whether you had them here as a student or not. I think, being a student here lends itself to, giving you a pretty unique perspective.
At whatever level, we're all called to be people for others, and one of the tangible ways to do that as an alum of this school, at least stay interested.
A unique situation at De La Salle. Most schools, once you graduate from high school, everybody goes their own way. The companionship and the comradeship of De La Salle then and now, it's a very strong bond.
You can ask young people who walk down these corridors, you can ask young people who are now alums of the school, and you ask them what was unique about your De La Salle experience, and they will say in their own words that I felt connected, I felt cared about, I felt known, and I was motivated to be more than I might have been had I not been influenced with the reality that I matter.
The Christian Brothers and alumni have helped the many generations of students in our community, and without their help, De La Salle would have been non-existent years ago. With that said, De La Salle High School has been producing more and more graduates with character, intelligent minds, and strong bodies prepared for the adult life. The future of De La Salle is bright because the Islanders today will be the alumni of tomorrow, paying for the benefits that we receive today as students.